Hi.
Hey everyone, I hope you're doing fine, and in this video I'm going to show you a solo full clear of the horrific vision of Stormwind with 5 masks. So I'm quite happy I'm able to show you this video, as I believed I was not good enough in the horrific vision of Stormwind to actually do it with 5 masks, as I did a lot of mistakes when I did 3 masks. But I practiced a bit on Wednesday on reset, and now I'm recording this video on Saturday right after my full clear. So yeah, I was able to do it, which is cool, and I will show you how I did it. So to follow the pattern of my latest videos, I will start by showing you my tech tree, my gear, my corruption, my azure traits, my senses, my talents, and then I will go into the vision, talk a bit about the masks, about the vision itself, about what I feel like is important, and then I will show you the run. So let's start with the tech tree. For this run, I had this tech tree minus 1 point here. Um, this talent, even though it's a group talent, works in solo, but you only get benefit once because you're the only person in your group. Which means if you have 2 points, like right here, you get plus 100 sanity. If you have one, like I had on my run, you have plus 50 sanity. And so you have 1050. And if you have the Mask of the Long Night that halves your sanity, you get plus 25, plus 50, and plus 75 for rank 1, 2, and 3. So yeah. But my gear, I had this set of gear. I don't have a bad gear. I can complain a bit about the level of my Azurite since it's still 450, save for this one. But overall, well, you can see here, decent item level. Well, weapon of the gem, good trinkets, good stats too, as it's good to have mastery and critical strike for AoE content. I would rather have less versatility and more mastery, but you can't have everything. For my corruption, I'd rather not have too high corruption in visions because I've talked to quite a few people that have been hit for 300k by the thing from beyond when you have more than 40 corruption. I'm not sure yet if corruption deals more damage in visions, so if it's magnified or not, or if these people were simply hit by thing from beyond when they had the debuff Void Buffet, because lots of ads cast Void Buffet, and this increases shadow damage taken by 100%, and the thing from beyond is shadow damage. But anyways, I wouldn't take the risk, so I wouldn't go above 40, and I'm fine with my gear as it is, so I can afford not to go above 20. That being said, if I had more OP corruption pieces, I would go above 20, as far as 39, but not above. And yeah, the corruption I use for this run is this. This is the Twisted Appendage corruption that summons the tentacles that does Mind Flay on the target. This is very good because, I mean, it deals very good damage in PvP, it deals very good damage in raids, it deals very good damage in dungeons. So of course, it deals very good damage in visions. So in addition to being just good in terms of damage, I think it can proc off dots, which means when you're fighting Umbric in the Mage Tower and he teleports, your tentacle can proc off your dots and deal damage while you're running. And same on Elyria when you're lining stuff, when you're behind the pillars, your tentacle can proc and deal damage. And also the same on the Slave Master in Trade District when you're in Chains of Servitude, you can have tentacle that procs and keeps dealing damage, and that helps a lot on these boss fights. Yeah, now my as well, let's start with the essences. So the essences, I have Blood of the Enemy as a major. Blood of the Enemy I like, because it's very good on AoE. It deals a really good damage when you press it, and it increases your critical strike chance and damage by 25% if you have rank 3. This is very good for everything. As you can see here, I have 30% critical strike chance, so when I have Blood of the Enemy up, I'm above 50%. So half of my attacks crit, which is very good. It is also good on single target if you pair it with Vendetta and Toxic Blade. And the cooldown is not too long, so it's quite useful. It also synergizes very well with the trait Echoing Blades, but more on that later. For the minor essences, I'm using Memory of Lucid Dreams, Vision of Perfection, and Breath of Dying. Memory of Lucid Dreams you kind of always take as a rogue, regardless of the content you're playing, because it gives a lot of energy back, and you want that energy. The healing and the versatility, well, the versatility is always good too, and the healing is kind of useful in PvP. E. So it's good to have, but you don't take it for the healing, of course. Breath of the Dying, well, I take it because of two things. The first one is the corruption resistance increase. When I have Breath of the Dying, my corruption is lessened. So if I don't take Breath of the Dying here, see, I'm above 20. And I want to be below 20, so I take Breath of the Dying. Breath of Dying is also very good in terms of damage output. The damage proc is nice, and if you have rank 3, you gain the second effect that you can read on my screen. If your target is below 20%, the chance for extra damage is increased by 400%. This is insane on single target, like really insane. It does a lot of damage, so this helps a lot on boss fights and visions. My last minor essence is Vision of Perfection. Vision of Perfection reduces the cooldown of Vendetta. With my neck level, it is by 24%. This is very close to 1 minute and a half. So that means you have Vendetta more often. This is why you pick it. Vendetta more often means that you can use it on more elite enemies in the Vision. For instance, I don't know. Well, if you enter Old Town, use Vendetta on the first elite, and if you clear the Old Town very quickly, and you have 2 minutes on Vendetta, you might not have it for Matthias Shaw, but with Vision of Perfection you have it. Like, overall you have more Vendettas, more elites will be under Vendetta, which ends the fights early, and since only the elite enemies are dangerous in Visions, this is important. And also, since it's only 1 minute and a half, this goes very well with Blood of the Enemy. So if you do not need Blood of the Enemy on a pack between two Vendettas, or if you have it, you can Vendetta, Toxic Blade, and Blood of the Enemy, and your damage for the next seconds is going to be really, really crazy, especially in Visions, because you have you have these effects, so the numbers are actually quite funny. So now let's talk about the Azerite traits. So I'm using 3 Shrouded to buff Garrote. Garrote is the biggest part of your damage in Visions. It's good on single target, it's excellent on AoE, and you re-stealth every pack, so you have your stealth Garrotes very often. I have 1 Echoing Blades for AoE damage. I actually want the additional effect that sprays a second set of knives when I crit, to help a bit with AoE damage on ads. And my last 2 traits are single target traits, so Twist the Knife and Nothing Personal, in order to have more boss damage, because as I said earlier, the boss fights are what is important in Visions. Only, like, you very rarely die on trash. If you do, it's because you are stuck in combat, and you can't use an orb, or you're out of sanity, but you will never ever die to damage on trash. You can die to big sanity hits on boss fights, though. This is why you want to be performant on single target damage. The last thing I need to talk about before going to the Visions are my tailings. So for my tailings, I'm using Elaborate Planning. This is the best option regarding damage on this row. Second row, I'm taking Subterfuge, because that way I can garrote several targets from stealth. Garrote deals more damage, and this goes extremely well with the Shrouded trait. Of course, you take both together, or you don't take any, usually. On the third row, I take Vigor. As I've said in my last videos, I think Marked for Death is a good option, maybe even better than Vigor. Personally, for PvE, I kinda like Vigor, even for Visions. So I stick with it. But I mean, if you go Mark for Death, might be better, might not. Worst case scenario is the same, so I think it depends really on the playstyle, so feel free to pick whichever you want. On this row, Leeching Poison is the best option by far. Elusiveness might be cool, but when you have lots of masks, you want to avoid all the damage, because most of it drains sanity. So, like, there won't be damage that you wish to reduce, so you don't take it. And Cheat Death, well, you're not planning on dying, right? So pick Leeching Poison. On this row, the best option is Iron Warrior, because it makes Garrote be a 6-second silence instead of 3. So when you open on packs, you can silence 3 enemies for 6 seconds, which might give you the time to kill them before they cast anything. And even if you can't kill them in time, you have 6 seconds during which they won't cast instead of 3, which is good. And when they're not dead, there is also a damage reduction debuff for 8 seconds after the silence, which is always good. On the last two rows, Battalion Sire, Toxic Blade, and Poison Bombs. These are by far the best options. The others are, well, bad. So you just pick Toxic Blade and Poison Bomb. One thing I have this time that I didn't have in my last videos is that I kept the damage breakdown of the vision. So if I go here, I have the entire damage breakdown of the vision I just did. So this is the damage breakdown. So you see 35% of my damage is Garrote. This is why you go with 3 Shrouded Suffocation and Subterfuge, because Garrote is dealing the most damage. And yeah, if you look, well, my best hit is 83k for a dot. This is huge. You also see that Lethal Strikes, which is the proc of Breath of the Dying, is dealing really good damage overall, which is another reason why I pick it. And well, the Tentacle, Mind Flay, only 3%, but you see 58 hits sometimes, which is really good. And this fight is Elyria, so maybe we can see some boss damage action. So yeah, Garrote, which is primarily, well, Shroud Suffocation and Subterfuge, which is primarily something made for AoE, really good on single target. Really good on single target. And hey, I didn't get any tentacle proc on this fight. Maybe I have one with it. Yeah, on Umbric, as I said, the tentacle procced when I was away, and lethal strikes too. So I was running from one side to the other to catch Umbric. My dots and the tentacle and lethal strikes did the damage, not actually me. And for the healing, so this is my total healing. So this is leeching poison. It's not much, because as I said, when you have lots of masks, especially 5, you try to avoid as much damage as you can, because most of the stuff will drain your sanity and you will die. But for the few bit of damage I took, the leeching poison was able to heal me for 20% of it, which is, well, it's better than nothing. And well, it seems that I never used my Crimson Vial in this run. Well, this is because I had Leeching Poison, so I didn't actually need to use Crimson Vial, which saves energy and saves a global cooldown. So, well, yeah, do play Leeching Poison. It's good. It helps. All right, now let's go to the vision. Alright, so this is a vision with 5 masks, so of course I have all masks on, and enemy damage done is increased by 125%, and enemy health is also increased by 125%. So the two important masks are Mask of the Daredevil and Mask of the Long Night. Mask of the Daredevil increases sanity damage taken from creatures by 400%, and Mask of the Long Night reduces your maximum sanity by 50%, so you have half a bar at maximum. So my maximum sanity is 525 instead of 1050. This means if I get hit by sanity draining damage, I will lose a lot of sanity and have a short reserve of sanity. So if you have all the masks, the combination of these two makes mistakes very punishing. You can't do a mistake, maybe one. Also in the Vision of Stormwind, see here, I'm looking for the color of the vial in that corner. In Stormwind, this vial is always the bad one. It changes every run, so on this one it was black, it won't be always black, but the one that is here is always the bad one. The bad one is the one that when you click on it, you lose 100 sanity. And when you know the color of the bad one, you can know the color of the good one. The good one gives you 100 sanity. So since this one was black, I know that the good one is the green one. So when I see a green potion, if I click it, I get 100 sanity. You will see that this will help me quite a bit in this run, since I think I will find 3, if I'm not mistaken. Between 2 and 4, but anyway, since we only have 500 maximum sanity, well, a couple of hundreds isn't negligible.
Resist! Fight back! Everyone's gone insane. They're stockpiling weapons for N'Zoth's armies in the Dwarven district. We have to destroy them. Set these explosives around the area. I'll get to work on the detonator. Stay safe.
This week in Corrupted Zones, the affixes are Entomophobia and Dark Delusions. Entomophobia spawns insects on your screen, and you have to jump to remove them. If you don't jump, you will get feared at some point. This is a very easy one. The second one, Dark Delusions, sometimes spawns an ad that you can't target. That is an image of yourself. It is linked to you by a purple line. It will walk towards you. It will try to reach you. If it reaches you, you will lose. You will get CC'd for 4 seconds. So just run away from it. Don't let it touch you, and you're fine. It's not very hard to manage.
You're causing quite a ruckus. Time to die.
That's all of them. Detonate the explosives, and let's get out of here.
So, you like to play with explosives, do you? Then let's play.
I can't
You made a grave mistake. You won't dodge this one. Reduce as burnt.
Go on ahead. I'll destroy the forge to ensure it never makes another weapon for Nazoth.
It's too far away.
What do you mean Elyria escaped?
In the Lost Zones, the affixes are lead in food and split personality. This can be a bit annoying sometimes. Lead in food puts you a debuff whenever you move in combat that slows you and stacks. If you stop moving, the stacks drop. So you cannot move too much in combat or you will get stuck. So what you actually have to do is you move out of dangerous mechanics, and then you you wait for the buffs to drop, and then you start moving again. Split personality, sometimes your screen will become purple. When it becomes purple, you know that some images of yourself will spawn around you, everywhere but on one spot. If you connect with these images, you are disoriented for 4 seconds. So when they spawn, you stop moving, you wait for them to spawn, and either you wait for them to despawn, or you go into the only safe spot, and you keep on going.
Elyria! You can't hide from me!
You sanguine.
got the key. This thing is what drove Shaw mad.
As you will see, I will use Heroism on Matthias Shaw. I actually believe this is a dangerous enemy somehow with the lead in food. And also if you use Heroism on your first lowest zone boss, you will have it back for Elyria or Thrall, so it is a waste not to use it. And yeah, I will also proc my cheat death on Matthias Shaw because I did a little mistake, but in the end it will be good because it will allow me to keep one orb.
None can hide from the Zog. All who resist must die. Zog grants me sight. I see everything.
It's done. Stormwind is still lost. It's too far away.
I will never.
as you can see, this run is going extremely well because I cleared the 2 corrupted zones and 1 lost zone, and I only lost my cheat death. I still have 3 orbs, which is really, really good. So I have 3 orbs to do the entire Mage Tower and Elyria. In my opinion, the Mage Tower is the hardest zone in the Vision. Much harder than the other 3, and much harder than the other lost zone. So it is, I would say it is good to have at least 2 orbs for it if you want to be safe. And well, with 3 you are extremely safe, of course. So the plan with 3 is to use 1 early to be safe, then use 1 before Umbric, and use the last one before Elyria. If you only have 2 when you reach this point, you have to use 1 before Umbric to be safe, I think, most of the time. Unless you have a lot of sanity coming through Umbric, but usually you have maybe half a bar. And then you have to kill Umbric fast and go into Elyria with what remains of Umbric's fight. So that can be a little tight, but if you use the sanity food like I do between each zone, you might do it. Alright, so when editing this video I realized I should have used Vendetta on the last elite I killed, and I would also have had it back on Umbreak. I just didn't realize this when I did the run. And also here, as you can see, I entered combat. This is because the creature spawned from the Mask of Dark Imagination. This almost made me fade the run, as I almost clicked and enter combat with Umbreak. So look out for this. If you're below 50% sanity, you can lose very easily if the creature procs when you intend to replenish your sanity, and in the end you can't do it. This made me wipe two. This made me fail 2 attempts in 5 mask clears this week already, because I tried to be greedy. I had really low sanity, and the creature spawned when I planned on using it all. Alright, and now I have Vendetta ready for Elyria. I have all my other cooldowns. I have Heroism, and I have one full Sanity Orb that I will use right next to Elyria. Actually, I won't use it too close because I was kind of afraid to trigger combat and die like an idiot. But I will use it close to Elyria and start the fight when I'm at full Sanity.
Vision exploration concluded. Initiating exit protocol.
Alright, and that's it for this 5 mask full clear of the Horrific Vision of Stormwind. I hope I explained what I did well enough and that you enjoyed the video. I will do the Horrific Vision of Orgrimmar next week when it comes back up. And I guess that's it. Have a nice day.
Goodbye.